it. To the top, ragamuffin keeps striving in every way. International, what they call me international. When me ride palm rhythm and I move with the rhythm and I come down crucial. And me ride palm rhythm and then we sit down steady. Body me on the place I with the one Jamal skinny. We are the general. We sit about the rhythm and I open the mic incredible. I'm me right palm rhythm and I move with the rhythm I sit down steady. Every ragamuffin you do off it, rock and follow me. Jump up on the rhythm, make we ride it right. We chat up on the mic and keep it international. Cause anytime we chop a mic, they call we give it a general. International, when me ride palm rhythm and I move with the rhythm and I come down crucial. And me ride palm rhythm and then we sit down steady. Body me on the place I with the one Jamal skinny.
Yes. What is up, everybody? Joshua Casper here at Plug-in Boutique, joined by a very special guest, Mr. Solo Major from Excite Audio.
Good to be here.
Yeah, before we jump in and do all the pleasantries, please let me know if you can hear me in the chat. It's another one of these where I have no idea what's going on in OBS. So we just want to make sure you can hear before we move on. While we're doing that, we got people coming in from Spain, Berlin, Sweden, Nottingham, Northern Bavaria. Dope. Oh, Jason White coming through with I Can Hear You. That's perfect.
Nice.
That's step one. You know what we should do, Solo, to be honest, before we jump in, is just... Dun, da, da, da. Solo. For the people who don't know who you are, why don't you let them know a little bit about yourself and what you do for Excite Audio before we jump into this marvelous new instrument?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Solo. I work for Excite Audio and I am a senior product manager there. So basically I conceptualize new ideas for plugins and basically see it through the design process and basically have a hand in how all of our plugins look and how they sound and how they behave and all the way through to release.
Love that. What does a senior product manager do?
It's basically who I was last year, but like a year later.
Nice. I love that. I love how that
so I
works.
was putting that at the start, but yeah, no, product manager is what I'm doing. But I've worked hard,
Love the title change. Yeah. Love that you're here today. I love this new instrument, Bloom Palette Object. Yeah. It just has such a vibe to it. I know that word is thrown around quite a lot these days, pretty ridiculously, but this does have a vibe.
Yeah, it's vivid.
Yeah. Tell people a little bit about Palette Object and what makes it so special, and then we'll jump into some sound.
Yeah, sure. So I should probably start with the Bloom series. So Bloom is our instrument line. And basically each one uses one-shots and like loops and different phrases and combines them into a single like playable instrument. And all of them are designed for really quick results. So you're probably familiar, we have launched Bloom Vocal Ether, Bloom Drum Breaks, Bloom Bass Impulse, Bloom Vocal Edit, and now we've got this. This one's different though. So before we've just like focused on individual instruments, we've done vocals or we've done drums or we've done bass. This launches a new line for us, which is palettes. And the idea of a palette is that we basically have samples from all different kinds of sound sources and different instruments and combine them into a single instrument, single Bloom instrument, on a like basically they add up to like a consistent theme. So with this one, it's all about adding something organic into your music production.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. And before we move on, there's just one kind of point of note that I think we should just talk about right at the beginning of this stream. It's a question that's on everybody's mind. It's a comment that comes in on each one of the videos that I make for this. Sample import. What's going on in the world of sample import?
Yeah, so the short answer is that we are working on adding the feature for users to be able to add their own samples.
Do you want to do it?
Oh, no, that's all good. Yeah, so we're adding the feature for users to be able to add their own samples into any of the Bloom instruments, and we will release this as a free update. We'll basically release it as a free update for all Bloom users as early in 2025 as we can. So yeah, Q1 in the business side is what we're aiming for.
So let me just get this straight to reiterate what you just said.
Yeah.
All Bloom instruments.
Yep.
You'll be able to bring in your own sounds and use the Bloom technology. And that's a free update if you already have a Bloom instrument. It's not often, Solo, that I get to hit the applause 3 times right to start a stream. That's
Nice.
fantastic news. I think a lot of people have been asking about it, and I think it's just cool that you and your team have, listened to the feedback from the community, because really that's what it's about, right? Making music and the people around you and obviously people who are supporting by grabbing these. And it seems to be a feature that was on everybody's mind, and just to see that you're going to pull through and not only add it, but have it be a free update, because that sounds like something most companies might be like, well, we can probably get a little extra out, but just to be like, nah retroactive.
Yeah, for sure. With these instruments, I mean, if I'm being honest, like we always envisaged them to be like really use case focused and just like, oh, like you want like some atmospheric vocals and you reach for Bloom Vocal Ether. And we showed the waveform of all the samples like on the edit page, which we'll get into in a sec. And as soon as we start showing that to like more and more users, people were just like, oh, I want to start using my own samples.
Sure.
And yeah, I don't know, maybe it's something that's like really glaring and should have been in there from the start, but basically we've been like, listening to that and like working on it, exploring like different options of how it can work. And yeah, I mean, it was never designed to do that initially, and that's kind of why there's been a little bit of a delay, trying to work on it. But yeah, we are working on it and have to get through, like Black Friday and all of that, which is obviously crazy busy for everyone. But yeah,
coming early next year.
Yeah, early next year, early as possible.
All right, well, that's enough chit chat. Let's let the people hear the project that you have here. I think it's a pretty robust example of what this thing is capable of, and then we'll jump into the details.
Yeah, absolutely. So
wait, sorry, I always do this. First of all, if you have any questions for Solo, at Plugin Boutique in the chat, I've got it right here on the screen. You can see that I have it right here on the screen, and we'll try to get him answered here on the stream. And also, I've coerced him enough to be allowed to give a few copies away. So if you are active in the chat, you are entered to win, and we'll choose a few lucky people at the end of the stream and give you some plugins. So I swear that's the last thing I want to say. You can go ahead and jump in.
Cool.
Nice.
So yeah, I was pretty like involved in like the marketing of this product, and actually made like the track we used for the trailer. So people might have heard this one before, but yeah, I'll show that to you now. Cool. So that is what Bloom Palette Object sounds like, at least with like these tracks. This is all based around one preset that we've got here, like in the plugin. So if I just load up a single instance of Bloom Palette Object, and I just play this one,
yeah, all that sound is coming out of just that one instance.
That's just one instance, and then I've just added like ear candy and extra like percussion and stuff from a load of others. And yeah, all of the layers that you see here are Bloom Palette Object. So yeah, we'll get into it, but like we've had to like basically take like the phrase player that was in like previous Bloom instruments and turn it into a full sequencer. And do all of that in a pretty like CPU efficient way.
Nice.
So yeah, so that when you want to add 10 or 12 of them to a project, it doesn't go like completely crazy. Cool. So we're looking at the main interface here. It looks really familiar and similar to the previous Bloom instruments. For anyone who doesn't know, each Bloom instrument basically has 14 samples, and these are mapped to the white notes. And you can already hear like some of that is just sounding like Foley sort of sounds and found sound and just really organic.
I think you call it ear candy. I think that kind of hits the nail on the head.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the best advice I ever got like when I was doing my degree at uni was if you want your track to sort of like sound timeless and never to sound like dated, like make sure that you add something organic into your track, because like synths and like different synth styles that you think of, like, you know, synths from like the 90s and stuff, all of that sounds like it's just like can sound a little bit dated. But if you want to like make something sound timeless, then you should add just like something organic, like layer your snare with like some rustling leaves or something like that, or like something clanging. So that's really sort of like the essence of this, just adding that organic element into your track. Some of the other sounds in here, we've sampled a load of like instruments from around the world. So we've got like a thumb piano sound, some bells, I think that's another thumb piano.
Oh,
and a bass, some gnarly bass.
Okay.
I think that's a double bass that's just like been pitched down, but that's like an acoustic double bass. And we recorded all the sounds ourselves, so you won't really find these like anywhere else. It's basically all of just like interesting Foley that we decided to collect. And we've arranged that in this instrument. So if I come onto the Banks page, into different categories. So this is new with palette objects instead of just saying sort of like bank 1 to 8. We've got household objects, mechanical and electrical items. We've got some tuned Foley, so that's all your bells and sort of like dings. And that's some glass. Textures. We've got an acoustic drum kit, and this was really important to add in just to be able to like sort of, if you wanted to make a beat, out of Bloom Palette Object, sometimes just having like a kick drum or a snare or a hi-hat is really useful. Then we get into a load of instrument one-shots. That's from my Taisha Goto at home. And yeah, Simon, if you're watching this, Taisha Goto is the best instrument.
Are you paying a licensing fee to yourself to have that sample in there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I get like 50p every time I play it.
Love that.
This is my own like instrument that I had sort of like for over 10 years. And interestingly, just before we released this, Andrew Huang like released a video where I think he had a challenge like trying to make beats out of the most like interesting instruments, and he decided to choose a Taisha Goto. So yeah, you can even add that sort of flavor into your tracks. We've got rhythmic loops as well. A lot of these are Foley. Nice like phone ringing. Yes.
What do we got going on here?
I was just going to point it towards me.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think that'll work.
Yeah,
should be fine.
And we've got this like sound which is like ice skating, and that was really inspired by like Fortet on his latest album had a track called Skater, so we wanted to get that sort of ice skating.
So that's ice skating, but in a beat, obviously, in a rhythm.
Yeah, just a really nice sort of texture to put in there. And then finally, we've got melodic loops.
Love that twang.
Yeah, and we've got like some vinyl crackle. Some of this was like recorded with like window open and stuff, just so you get that background noise, and just get those sort of like cozy vibes.
I think solo. I think maybe let's talk about maybe just the sequencer, but like. Yeah, well, let's just play some presets, I think, because some of these full beat presets are absolutely phenomenal. I think this will give people a clear understanding of what's capable.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Is what's capable of my English is bad there, I think.
Let me just save this one as we've got it. Cool. So, yeah, if I just come into here.
So how are you playing that right now?
On that one?
Yeah.
So the way that it works is, obviously we've got our 14 samples down here, but for each preset, we've got these like A, B, C, D, and E. And these are basically sequences and phrases that we've made out of the 14 samples. And we'll take a deeper dive into it. But just coming onto the edit page, we've introduced a sequencer in here. And when I press A, or I trigger it with MIDI, which is what I'm doing just by hitting the space
Oh, okay, you
bar.
got a MIDI in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you hand me this keyboard without spilling your water? It's
Yeah,
not
of course.
plugged in. So the point here is the white triangles will correspond to the white keys of a 2-octave keyboard, and then the inverted darker triangles will be the black keys on the keyboard. So you can almost drum in if you want, or play the sequence and add an effect, which is over there on the left, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if I come back to the preset that we had before, I'll just like sort of trigger it, and that's like the upper octave of black notes, like triggering the sequences. But we've also got these modifiers sort of down here, which will do half time, double time, reverse, and those sound really, really good as well. So that's octave down and reverse, which just sounds really, really nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
What?
Tripping through time with that
I'm
one.
still hearing bass.
Oh yeah. Some of the samples I've got in this preset we've got set to latch, just because it worked with the sequence better. So the bass will just carry on until the end of the sample for that one.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we've got some really nice ones. So.
How many presets?
250. Yeah. And 5 phrases per. Yeah, and there's just stuff like in here. We've just got random rattles, brushes. We've got this one which is just like the sound of like a wrench, like winding up, which is really cool. So yeah.
Good question coming in from the chat. I think once Machine is wondering, what are the limitations of the light version?
The light version, basically, it's a little bit of like a preset player, I guess is the best way to put it. You get 75 presets, and you get access to the macros. You can also access the some of the 3 effects from here as well. So you can turn up like noise, reverb, and speaker. And we've kind of curated the settings for those for all of the light presets just to make sure that they like sound good when you load them in. And you can still change the key. And I should say, like, one really cool thing that we've done with this is under the hood, we've tagged like which of the samples are melodic and which ones are percussive. So if you want to change from like A minor, you could just come into like G minor, and your kick and your snare, that all stays the same and doesn't get pitched, but
just the tonal content.
Exactly.
Yeah,
all
nice.
the melodic stuff.
Also, another quick question. Is this rent to own already?
I believe so.
Let's throw a rent to own link in the chat, please, Connor. Yeah, that's actually pure fire. Let's play a few more of these presets, because I'll tell you, these presets in this instrument are truly inspiring.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's choose. Oh, you favored some of these. That's really nice. Yeah, I really like.
Are those my favorites?
Yeah, I think so.
It's wild.
Yeah. So
Are those those melodic bits, right? The pitched keys there.
Yeah.
Is that from a sample, or is that pitching happening in the sequencer?
So that is just a single piano note.
So what you've done is you've loaded that piano hit.
Yep.
Is that effect from the noise effect, or is that baked in?
So, yeah, I mean, we'll get into it, but it's
Sorry.
no, it's all good. It's all good. No
questions.
We've with all the Bloom instruments, we have these 3 effects, and on this one we've got a noise module, and basically you can add a layer of noise that reacts dynamically to the audio like passing through the plugin. So when you play a note, it layers on like the sound of this one where it's like people talking, which is really nice.
So what you've done is you've taken that one sample, you've added that effect to really give it the character, and then you've pitched each instance of it, and then in the sequencer you've arranged those pitched notes to make the melody.
Exactly.
Love that.
Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, talking of effects, like we've got, let's just choose a nice preset.
While you're choosing that preset, good question coming in from the chat. Brad makes noises. If it stops raining for a second.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, that was a campfire.
Yeah.
Okay. Brad makes noises wondering, are there any plans for expansion packs for the Bloom instruments? So it's kind of like each instrument is its own kind of expansion, right?
Yeah, we'll see what happens after we open it up for people to load their own samples. If it's something that people, if people are really enjoying like the content, like say they like Bloom drum breaks and they just want more drum breaks from us, then yeah, something that we definitely consider. But at the moment, we're just going to let people use their own samples, and then just pay attention to how people are using Bloom and just like what they actually want in the product.
So the real value, I think, of something like Bloom Palette Object, I think really displays it, is the curation that goes into the groupings of the sounds and what sounds are together and what melodic sounds are there, what drum sounds are there, and these all just speak kind of organic vibe, I think, to me, and I think that's what you were going for. So that's where the value is with getting an expansion or a new instance of the thing. And obviously, I think, am I correct in assuming that you will continue to expand and add new things? Like you just added an entire new sampler, which wasn't there in the last instrument, for example. Yeah,
I mean, it's always evolving, and we're just want to just listen to people and see how they're using it, and we've got a long list of feature requests that we want to hopefully work through with this. But yeah, but you're right. Like the curation is such a important aspect, and one thing, just for anyone who's not aware, like one really big point of curation is that we have these 4 custom macros on the front page. And we always make this, like, it's always like some like custom combination of our DSP, and it's lots of things combining together under the hood. So in this one, we've got like a really nice echo. We've got a glue compressor in smooth. We've got a tape saturation. And then we've got width that just adds like stereo width on the left and right sides. So that's pretty much it on the main page. But yeah, we can dive into more presets and then start going through all the different sections if you like. Do a bit of a deep dive.
I would like that.
Sweet.
Where's my massive water bottle? Oh, it's over here.
Nice.
Keep the questions coming. We'll get them answered here on the stream. We're here with Solo Major, the senior product.
I'm going to regret saying that.
Well, no, that's what you are. I mean, that's the title on the business card. From Excite Audio, checking out their newest instrument in the Bloom series called Palette Object.
Nice. Cool. If you're not sick of it, I'm just going to go back to our...
You're in the driver's seat. I can't even get to the mouse from here, so...
Cool. So basically with Bloom Palette Object, we've got the sample edit section, which is the same as all the previous Bloom instruments. I've got this kick loaded in. You can change the attack release, the pan and volume. We've got this BPM warp, which basically either snaps it to your DAW or basically keeps it the same length as you pitch it up and down, or I can turn that off. And when I do that, when I pitch it down, it will be really slow and dragged out, and if I pitch it up, plays back really fast, so it's like an old school sampler, but we can just play it back at its original tempo as well. And then fine pitch and formant, and we actually found that really, really useful for like adjusting like the tonal quality of stuff. Like when we got that sub bass, that was by using like acoustic upright bass and like turning down the formant and turned it into a sub bass somehow. So yeah, we've really tried to sort of push these samples and stuff to the limits.
Got a good question here from Peter Jensen. They're saying that Bloom bass required Rosetta to be installed. Is that?
We'll double check that. It's so all of our plugins should be running natively with like Apple Silicon. Okay. I think that we had like a scenario where like some of our installers needed like Rosetta to like install to basically like pause it from like the before Silicon days. So yeah, let us know if that's still happening, because we just need to update our installers if that's the case.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought that was potentially looked at.
Cool. Another question that's come in and always comes in all of these streams is, what's the CPU usage like on this?
I think it's really good. It's a really hard question to answer just because people have different setups, and but in this project we've got 12 of them running and we have a lot of samples happening at the same time. I mean most people, the vast majority of people shouldn't have issues. The only time I think you'd ever get like anything is just if you're running like a ton of instances. You just want to produce a track with nothing but Bloom palette objects, and then you probably reach that limit at some point.
Nice.
But again, like this is now in the hands of like so many more people, so if you are having CPU issues, like let us know. We'll ask you about your setup, and it'll be something that we'll be working on as well.
Love it.
Yeah, cool. So just a really nerdy thing that we added into Bloom palette object was this one-shot mode. It works really similarly to like Latch. For those who don't know, so we've got this hold mode where the sample will only play as I'm holding down the note. I can also latch that, so I can just hit the note once and it'll just carry on forever. With one shot, it won't allow you to loop, but basically I can hit it once, it will play to the end and then stop. And if I keep hitting it, it will just act like a normal like drum sequencer and just keep triggering, and then until it reaches like the end of the sample. So that's really useful, and that was a requirement from us adding the sequencer into it. The sequencer that we've made is kind of unique. So in some ways it's really similar to your typical like drum sequencer. So if I just solo this, you can see that I've got this kick and I've got it landing on these beats, and I can add in these extra hits. However, when you've got loops, like this kind of stops making sense a little bit. So say that I've got this like ice skating loop that I really like, and I can snap that to transients and grid if I like. I can basically choose with the sequencer how long I want that to loop for, and that's something that you don't really see with like a sequencer that is designed to like allow you to arrange and start loops and stop loops and have them come in and out, as well as triggering these one shots like underneath, and that's how we've managed to create these like full beats.
Got a question from the chat. Andre D is wondering, can they play the sample in reverse and boomerang, etc., etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. That's just all in the sample edit section, so everything that you need for manipulating samples is just up there. I can do it in reverse. And yeah, forwards, backwards, whatever you like. So yeah. Cool. So yeah, diving into the sequencer, that's the sort of trigger section. If I come over to here, I've got this sort of hi-hat, except that it's not a hi-hat. It is some weird artifacting, stretched out campfire, because why not?
What, I mean, have you like manipulated it to sound like that, or is that just the sample?
Yeah, it's a pretty slow sample, and then we're playing it back at half speed. and we're locking it to our BPM. So we're just stretching it out and getting all of those sort of like lo-fi digital artifacts in there. But yeah, so I can enter a load of notes just by clicking and dragging. I've got a little bit of shuffle going on there. I'll turn it off for now.
It made a lot of difference, that shuffle.
Yeah, it really adds it in.
I like you've got a few different swing types while we're on it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's maybe check those out.
Absolutely. So if I turn it up, we've got a shuffle. So this is just your regular swing where it's like delaying every other note. And obviously all of these we can control the number of like total steps. We can change the rate so we can make it happen faster, or we can have it slower. And then obviously amount of swing and swing type. Down here we've got the global setting. So this is like the global number of steps and rate and swing. So that's important when you're working in full screen mode. And then basically you have the option with each of the samples or each of the tracks in the sequencer, whether you want to just link it or have it unlinked. And obviously in this case, we've got it unlinked. So that's shuffle. We've got humanize, and this just basically adds sort of random timing variation. So he's sounding pretty drunk there.
Lucky.
We've got rushed, where it basically moves every other one like forwards in time. So it feels like it's playing like almost like a, I don't know what you'd call it. I mean, some people call that shuffle, but we've defined shuffle as like a typical swing, and then rushed is sort of like moving those notes further forwards in time. We've got vintage. I'll just make it a little bit less extreme. And it's a slightly more natural sounding shuffle. This is really nice. So basically it moves every other note like later in time, but every third note earlier in time. And just it kind of evens out the spacing. So it plays the first note in time, and then this kind of slightly more even spacing with like the second, third, and fourth. So just feels really smooth. Gets used in like a lot of like sort of like Dilla beats, like that kind of stuff, like sort of like like lo-fi hip hop as well.
Love that. And I can see that you have forward, back, ping pong on the sequencer lane as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can play the whole sequence forwards or backwards, and you can loop it obviously as well. And sorry, I'm just gonna have a sip.
While you're having a sip, someone was wondering if the graphic on the front has anything to do with the audio that's coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll play in time with your DAW and trigger as audio is passing through it. It's not interactive. We tried it, but we tried like loads of things like combining macros into it and stuff. But in the end, this was the simplest solution. People preferred like using like rotary controls for it, so it just ends up being a nice visual, just to visualize what's happening with the plugin.
Love that.
Yeah. So we've got delete, which just clears everything, and then we've got randomize as well, so you can randomize patterns here as well. And I've got playing backwards. There we go. And you can do that, and it creates some pretty nice patterns. And then just to delete, I can just click and drag to delete all of those. So adding things in is really, really simple. We've got probability that we can automate as well. Velocity. Obviously, it's very quiet down there, but if I want to add a sweep, and if I want to delete the probability things that I've done there, I can just press delete.
Did that delete them or?
So no, it's basically that the little trash can just deletes like kind of whatever you do. So if you change any of this just resets it like back to the default values.
Okay, so probability default is 100%.
Yeah,
always.
You're like deleting the probability.
What happens with the pitch though? Pitch will probably be
just
go back to the middle.
Exactly. Yeah. So if I play this, it'll probably sound crazy.
Pretty dope. Crazy nothing, bro. It's awesome.
Yeah. And then attack and release. We've got micro timing, so we can add, if we don't like any of the swing types, we can sort of add these micro swing sort of variations in here.
That's great. I mean, that's just what's going to make it sound so, I think, organic, man. You're going so far away from robotic, which is just on the grid. You know, you're given a lot of options to make it more human.
Yeah, for sure. And then finally, we've got this Perform tab. And this is getting pretty deep into the plugin now. But if you want to do some like hi-hats, sort of rolls and stuff, I can actually add all of these performances in here. So I can add flams. I can do rolls. I can roll like 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 notes. I can have it fall, and this like makes it fall in pitch as well as like volume and velocity. So if I play that, so you can start to hear that you're going to get some like pretty good hi-hats. Or so yeah, you can already hear that's like, yeah, you'll be able to make some pretty nice trap beats with that. And then you're gonna ask a question.
Me?
Yeah.
No, but October is wondering if you can modulate the effects.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can go really, really in depth with this. So, let's load a different preset in. I really like this Junkyard Breaks.
Van Halen. Did Van Halen have a song called Hot for Techno?
I have no idea.
That's not a... oh, no, Teacher. God, I need my eyes checked. I literally thought that said techno. That's hilarious.
Cool. So we are currently triggering phrase A, and we don't just have to trigger sequences. We don't have to trigger sequences or samples. We don't have to trigger any at all. We can just modulate the effects or modulate everything at once. I can come here. I can modulate the pitch. And
that
all of
sounded
this
kind of cool.
Yeah, all of this can be randomized as well, so you can do some really crazy stuff. Which is really cool. We can modulate the wet signal with volume, low cut filter. So it's all these sort of effects down here, like in the global section. And you can toggle them on and off for when they get annoying. High cut, and then you can modulate all of the sort of like main effect.
And those are like globally, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this happens on like a per phrase level. So yeah, it happens globally. Like it takes your sequence that you've made and just applies like these effects over the top of it.
And I think something that's cool is like, say you've got your reverb on like 40%. Just normally, just as its like default position, and then you modulate, right? It will only override for that modulation.
Yeah.
But for the rest of it, it'll just stay at 40, right?
That's exactly it. So yeah, let's do that. We'll put the reverb at
yeah, because
we'll put it
be great.
We'll put it at 39.9, and add a bit of length to it. So we've obviously got that reverb in there. What we can do in that moment, if we just want it dry, we can turn the reverb modulation on, set it to 0%. So it's actually a really nice way to toggle effects on or off if you don't do any modulation.
Gotcha.
But also, yeah, as you say, what we can do is add some points. And yeah, I can, if I hold, there's a few like hotkey controls. So if I hold shift, I can snap them to the steps. I can snap them in the vertical axis. I'm a Mac user, so we're gonna have to find out. Oh yeah, I can snap it down to like the value sort of like either side of it. So I can snap it down there or the bottom. And yeah, just to show you how this sounds.
Lance Avila is saying that we're ignoring questions about different colors. Lance, I don't think we're doing that. I've got the chat right here on the left of the screen, and then I'm trying to pay attention to the the presentation, so we're not ignoring anybody. And a good way to get your question seen is to @ plugin boutique, because then it highlights for me, and like if I see a highlight, I know I should be reading that.
Yeah.
So just we're not ignoring anybody. I mean, can you speak to different colors?
Yeah, sure. It's kind of like you got to collect them all, where like each bloom is just a different color at the moment. Yeah, but again, you know, if we get enough requests for, you know, different color options, then it's something that we can look into. It's just about like looking at all the feature requests and prioritizing it, really. Just to look at some of the questions, talking about organic, any AI in the making of it. Nope. I think that I probably used a bit of ChatGPT to come up with a tagline. That's about it. Sequence organic beats, I think it was. So, or organic samples. So yeah, maybe I could have come up with that by myself.
Dramatics is wondering about random functions. Can we just kind of point out all the random functions throughout? Because I know there are a few.
Absolutely. So if you hit random down here, which I'm not going to do just because it's going to mess up this preset.
Hit it. Live on the edge, bro.
Oh, man. Okay, cool. If I hit this, then we've just randomized all 14 samples. So now the beat sounds like this. Yeah, gotta have the. Let's try a different one.
There's something there, though.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you spent a little bit of time with that, and you got like a Scott Storch type hip hoppy, I think.
Absolutely. And coming out of the modulation for one sec, but like we do have like the randomized button, like all of the same functionality that we have in this collapsed view. We've got up here. So if you want to view what's happening on every track at the same time, you can add like trigger steps in here. All your probabilities and stuff is controllable from here.
I love the random on the like the probability, the velocity. You know what I mean? I mean trigger is one thing. Pitch is something that would be a little. Oh, what about that with the pitch? Right?
Mm-hmm.
If I randomize pitch, is it going to keep it in the key?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you can adjust pitch freely, but if you randomize the pitch, and if I click on one of these, it snaps it to just semitones. Yeah, so it locks to. It's not going to do like a random like amount of like semitones and cents. Like it's just going to be locked to the semitones. And again, if I hold down, I have to find out which button it is on Mac. On PC. If I hold down, it should snap. Yeah, when you're in this mode, it should snap to semitones when you hold down Shift.
Love that.
Yeah. And other places where you can randomize. So you can randomize, for patterns, probability, all of this stuff. You can also randomize the modulation here. One really cool thing that you can do as well is, and this is new for the sequencer, is we've added all of these like different modulation presets.
Ah, nice.
So if I want to like modulate the amount of noise that I've got here, I can have that sort of like increasing and decreasing as like a sine wave. Ooh, and make sure it's turned on. Sorry, I've made it freak out. And I can change that to, let's say, like maybe some white noise. Maybe it's a little bit quiet on here. Oh, it's because we've got the saturation turned up. So with that, basically on the noise, we are modulating white noise up and down with basic sine wave, and we have all of these different shapes here. If you want to like increase things in like a major scale, we've like worked it all out. So you've got those notes. We can do a cool like sort of slowing down pattern. Yeah, and just simple ADSR.
The Chili Pepper's wondering if there are, what options do we have for key selection in the instrument?
At the moment, you can basically set the global like pitch and things like that. In terms of different keys, we haven't got that for pitch at the moment. But it's a really, really cool idea, you know, if you just want to sort of like pitch things around, but only in some like, you know, interesting scale. You know, if you wanted to get your crack out the Mixolydian stuff, like, and have it just, you know, locked to that. So that's a really cool idea. But yeah,
Nice.
make a note. Yeah, but at the moment it's just selecting the global key that you're in, and that will pitch the samples just to make sure that they're all in the right key. I saw a question earlier about will you be able to edit your own samples when you drag them in? Answer's yes. Basically, your samples will work exactly the same way as the factory content. So you'll be able to use the sample edit section. You'll be able to arrange them in the sequencer, pitch them around, like all of that sort of stuff. Really
Love that.
Yeah.
Let's maybe crank up the reverb on something, maybe like experimental or textures. Crank up that reverb and give the 3 flavors that we have at our disposal here.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to go into some of this, let's do this weird science one. It's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, it's better if I show you this. Like, just
Nice.
some really creative stuff happening there. And like in the modulation, you can see like the preset designer here is like randomized like the pitch, added some volume automation, automating like some noise. So that's automating some tape static. And yeah, but maybe it's a good time to dive in just to the 3 effects, because there's quite a lot of like parameters and stuff down here. So let's load up. I really like this one just because it's like working in Office. It feels like a day in the office.
I mean, that's a TikTok video waiting to happen.
Yeah. Do you want to... Brad makes noises.
Brad makes noises. Well, Connor's helpfully said yes.
Nice. Cool. Yes, we'll be adding... the other Bloom products. Yeah, absolutely. So if you own like Vocal Ether or Drum Breaks or any of that, those ones you'll also be able to load your own samples into.
Love that.
Yeah, so it's a free update for any Bloom user. Cool. Whoa. Let's find a different one. Oh yeah, this is a good one. Cool.
It's got some groove to it.
Yeah, I'd say so. So we've got 3 effects modules. In this one, we've got noise, reverb, and speaker. The noise module has 3 different modes. Either you can have noise play constantly when the door's running. We can also have it in dynamic mode, and this is what I was saying earlier, where the noise reacts to an envelope from the audio, and for that we can set the threshold and release. And we've also got a tone control, which basically works like a tilt EQ. We've got a selection of different sources. So the crowd is a really, really nice one. We've also got beach sound. Campfire, cassette static. And then we've also got duct, and duct basically means that it works the opposite way to dynamic. So when the audio is playing, it ducks the noise out of the way. So it's still there, but it kind of like gets out of the way of the beats in a really nice way. In addition to that, we've got reverb. We've got 3 reverb algorithms here: Hall, Plate, and Spring. And and you can control the length, size, and mix of that.
Oh, you got a quite narrow. Yeah, I was gonna say let's let them have it with the.
Absolutely. Tell you what, let's go into one of these. Really nice and metallic. And yeah, as you pointed out, we can basically add a high cut and low cut filter. So we can just focus the reverb on whatever band of frequencies that we want. We can add some pre-delay and a duck, just to duck the reverb when the audio is playing.
Love the duck.
Yeah. Quack, quack. And then also we've got speaker. Let's just pick a different preset for this. So this basically comes from our emulations in Lifeline Expanse, and we've condensed like the reamp module like down even further and just taken like the core controls. And so we've got a device which is kind of like based on like a Game Boy, and all of these sort of like, it's not using convolution, but we've basically looked at like the impulse responses of those different devices and then emulated it from there. We tried convolution, but it's just like in a plugin like this ends up just being way too heavy for just a little module. And these sound really great. So with device, we have like a tiny sort of Game Boy type sound, which is really nice.
What's the original sound like? Okay, nice.
Yeah, so, and one cool thing that you can do is control the distance away. And so in Lifeline Expanse, you kind of had these two microphones and you can adjust the distances that you're recording the speaker from. Sure. But on this, we've just combined it onto one. And you can make it sound like it's in the corner of a room, which is, yeah, just really, really nice. So if I come to a different preset,
That's hot. That's a great preset.
Cheers, man. That's one of mine.
That's one of yours.
Yeah. I wasn't fishing for the applause.
Yes,
so, by the way, just so you know, and we've got this size control, which basically blends it from the sound of like a Game Boy to the sound of like a consumer radio. So it's like the speaker's getting a little bit bigger.
Love that.
And then in addition to that, we've got a cabinet, which is two different guitar amps, one smaller, one larger. We've also got this age control, which makes it really crunchy and lo-fi.
Oh, that's nice. A little hum in there too, or?
Yeah, a little bit static. And then we've got this bass through, which is really nice. It's basically like a multi-band that splits the low end of the signal through, so you can just like, if you've got like a really nice kick and bass, it just keeps it intact. We've got hi-fi, which is basically like a consumer radio system. So this is kind of like increasing in quality from like tiny little like radio speakers through to a guitar amp, which has a bit more crunch, and then a hi-fi system. And this is like just inspired by studio monitors and stuff like that. So it just adds like a little bit of realism in there. So this feels like it's like in your face. And then speaker just sets it back a little bit, and then you can increase the distance as well. Yeah, and then finally you can control like all the macros just from here as well. Just by hovering over them, you'll know what they are. And yeah, in a nutshell, that is Bloom Palette Object.
Love that. We got a question came in about if you can remap the macro effects.
No, that's like curated sort of by us, and that's sort of just like we've fine-tuned that to like the content, so that is currently sort of closed. The macros do what the macros do.
So that's Palette Object.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, producers of all the world, thank you for tuning in. Solo, I'm going to give the chat one last opportunity to enter into the giveaway. This is what we normally do. We give them around a minute or two. Of course, we're doing a giveaway, and to be entered to the giveaway, you have to be active in the chat. And then we're going to pick a few people at random towards the end of the stream. This is your last opportunity also to get your questions answered. If we missed some, I do apologize. It's a lot going on. We do put the chat on slow-mo mode, so we don't miss questions, but it does happen. I do apologize if we miss yours, but now's an opportunity at Plugin Boutique, and we'll try to get an answer here on the stream. So while they're doing that, I got a question for you. It's a philosophical conundrum. Okay. So you're on a trolley, and you're no, I'm just kidding. You've got a new laptop.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
First 4 plugins you install, and then one synth.
Ooh.
And to make it a little tough,
Yep.
One of them can be Excite Audio.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I mean, I'm serious. Like, have a think. Like, what, you got a new laptop tomorrow. What are you putting on the machine first?
Gosh. Okay. I'll do the Excite Audio one first, just because I think that's the easiest, and it was our first plugin, and it's dear to my heart. But it's Lifeline Expanse.
Okay. Let's get a link to Lifeline Expanse in the chat, please, Connor.
It's just I mean, obviously it's sort of it's ours, but I really really like the reverb algorithms in it, and it's just super lightweight, and you get a lot of character out of it. Like the width module, there's like a detune mode, and that's just like a chorus. So I was actually recording and producing an album for a friend's band, and I was using the width module and detune mode for the chorus on all their guitars, and just really liking the tone of that. So, and now we've got all the individual modules as well. I guess it's kind of cheating because it's 5 individual plugins, but those are just so quick as little snap-ins just to put on there.
That's one.
I really like the Arturia 1176 compressor.
All right, that's 2.
I think it sounds really good, and it's sort of when I was diving into analog emulations, that was just one that I was just drawn to. Be I just got to understand this, and it's just really versatile. In terms of a synth,
no, we need 2 more plugins anyway.
2 more plugins, yeah. I really like Audified Mix Tracker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm really into it, and
So that's the first install you're gonna. You got a new computer.
Oh, okay.
That's
maybe
gonna be one of the ones you put in first.
No, there's just a ton of character on it, so I'm not using it to check my mixes.
You're using it as a lo-fi device.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I really really like it for that. But to be fair, reamp module in Lifeline Expanse. Can I say one that's not on Plugin Boutique, or is that against the rules?
That is not a stipulation of the rules, my friend. You can please.
I do like Soothe too by
Soothe
Oak
too.
Sound. Yeah, it's really good for tidying things up, and it does get a lot of use, and it's probably the most I've ever spent on a plugin, to be honest.
I mean, it's got a great reputation for good reason, so I don't think it's...
No, absolutely. And then pure utility is Fab Filter Pro Q3.
Yeah.
Has to be classic.
Yeah, I mean that's again. It's pretty. It's almost industry standard at this point. That EQ. It just sounds so amazing. And now you're one synth, sir. People put in your guesses what synth he's going to say. He's going to take a second to think. Let us know what synth you think he's going to say. Some people are already guessing Serum. Anyone else got it? I think he's going to say Pigments 5.
I'd say, oh god, it's so tricky. It's between 2 things, because if I'm doing electronic music, I think that I really do like Phase Plant. Phase Plant
it's pretty great.
Oh, actually, maybe Current by Minimal Audio. It's fantastic
Oh, really?
as well. Yeah.
Current
yeah.
2 just came out.
Yeah, I haven't used it yet, but it's and they released that as a free update as well, which I think is really.
I mean,
really cool.
the company has released the synth, and it's funny. Connor did a great video. Go check Connor. Throw a link to your video on the synth. I think it came out yesterday or the day before. He did a really good video, and someone commented on the video that they released the synth, updated the synth, went on to version 2 as a free update, and Serum hasn't moved.
God, Serum 2 when
Yeah.
I do love Serum as well. I think a lot of those, it's sort of just like whatever mood you're in, like whatever workflow you want to do. If I'm getting like really experimental with like sound design, I'd say like Phase Plant. I love the flexibility of snapping things together.
I mean, that's super. Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree there.
But yeah, like with Current, to be fair, I'm mainly just like preset surfing with that because it's just like they're amazing sound designers. So yeah, I just really like that, and the fact that you can have like the sample packs like inside of the synth, I think is really really cool as well. They're doing their best to make that sort of like ecosystem, which is really cool.
We had I think Jake's his name, that he's the developer of Current, and really just a super classic guy. He came on the stream a while back.
Yeah.
We'll have to have him on again for the update, but
yeah, for sure. And then if I'm going like analog and vintage, it's like Diva is like fantastic, and then maybe Tau U No X. Like
I said one
really
solo.
good.
You just I mean, I know it's tough, but you've broken all the rules.
There you go. I just have to torrent the rest. No, I'm joking. Buy plugins, please.
Ban him. Connor, ban solo.
No, I'll be straight on plug and boutique.
All right. Yeah, Diva's fair. I mean, it's again another
so good.
industry standard.
Yeah.
We got the names. We're gonna give away three instruments, 3 Bloom palette objects. Actually, no, you wanted to do a bundle, didn't you?
Yeah, we'll do one full Excite Audio bundle.
Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, producers of all ages. That's amazing. What's in the Excite Audio bundle these days?
It's all 5 Bloom instruments, so that's Bloom palette objects, Bloom drum breaks, Bloom bass impulse, Bloom vocal ether, and Bloom vocal edit. Vision 4X, Cashmere chain, Lifeline expands, Lifeline console, Motion harmonic, and Motion dimension. Yeah, I think it's like 11 plugins.
That's three hands worth. You can't even do that on 2 hands. That's crazy. So one lucky person is going to get all of that, and then 2 other people are going to get a copy of Bloom palette object. What I have here, 6 names, and we have to have you now double blind this down to 3 names. So what are your favorite numbers? The first number you pick will be the winner of the bundle, and the following 2 will be the winner of the instrument. But I will announce them in reverse order. Go.
Oh, okay. 3.
Okay.
2.
You're going too fast. Hold on.
3 and 2. It's too fast. It's too many numbers.
I gotta put bundle in front of this one's name. Hold on. Bundle. Okay, and then one more.
5.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, sorry. This is just the technology that I'm working with. You gotta. How do you? Okay. All right. So the 2 winners of Bloom Palette Object, the brand new instrument, just came out, courtesy of Excite Audio, are Jason White and Squeaky 1000. SKWEEKY 1000. That's great with the speaker on it. I know you can't hear it now, but
I can hear it through this.
Oh, you can. Yeah, it kind of sounded like game show music for a second with the. But we won't. We're not going to play it now. You can take your headphones off if you want. And the winner of the bundle, everything from Excite Audio, totaling 11 plugins, instruments, and effects, is Michael Hopkins. Congratulations, Michael Hopkins, with the. That's pretty crazy. I mean, that's very generous of you, Solo. Thank you for allowing us to do it here on the stream. Anytime you got something new or exciting to talk about, please do come back. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody, if you won, Michael Hopkins, Jason White, Skickwiki 1000, Email support@pluginboutique.com with your name, what you want, and a screenshot of you logged in to your account here on Plugin Boutique. Oh, sorry, here on YouTube. And our friends over there will get you sorted as fast as humanly possible. But with that, Solo, are there any final words you want before we wrap up?
No, just thank you so much for tuning in, and yeah, I hope you enjoy the Bloom instruments and what we're doing with them.
All right, everybody, I'm Joshua Casper, Plugin Boutique. That's Solo Major from
Thank you.
Excite Audio, and we will see you in the next one.
Keep on rising to the top. Ragamuffin keeps striving in every way. International, what they call me international. When me ride palm with them in the move, but the rhythm and I come down crucial. And me ride palm with them and then we sit down steady. Body me on the place, I with the one Jamal skinny. We are the general. We sit up on the bed with them in the open, the mic incredible. I'm be right palm with them in the move, but the rhythm I sit down steady. Every ragamuffin you do, I feel rock and follow me. Cool, you know you love her for your life. Hey. We jump up on the rhythm, make we ride it right. We chat up on the mic and keep it international. Cause anytime we jump on mic, they come, we give it a general. International, what they call me international. When me ride palm with them in the move, but the rhythm and I come down crucial. And me ride palm with them and then we sit down steady. Body me on the place, I with the one Jamal skin.